Hi, welcome to some pincushion ideas with GourmetQuilter. I'm Susan Clare, GourmetQuilter. We're doing a whole series of 20 different pincushions, one each day for 20 days, and we are up to pincushion number 13. So we're well into the series. On the website, on GourmetQuilter.com, there's more information, there's a pattern if you wish to sign up for it, and if you do, you're going to have instructions to download and print that tells you all about the cutting and how to put it together, and I'm just here to show you how to put it together. So this is the pincushion we're doing. It's a simple square pincushion this time. It possibly doesn't look overly exciting. It's in very soft colours this time. However, I think it's a very fun pincushion and it would make a great gift. So I've just used up, sometimes we have little bits of braid and decorative ribbons and things like that, so we can put some of those along there, maybe some little decorative buttons. Other than that, relatively simple. So it's the block, I don't know whether it's got a name, this block, but they all go around, so we have to do a partial seam. And also you can get such wonderful decorative braids and ribbons these days that I thought they'd be great for particular special days. Like I found one with a happy birthday on it here, so that would make a great happy birthday gift for somebody. There might be sewing things, there might be any number of things, and pretty much everything's available on ribbons and tapes these days. So I've gone ahead, I've got everything cut out. I've got some buttons, I've got my back, I've got my strips, and I've got my centre. So I've already, and some batting. I'm just using a lightweight cotton batting, and that's partly because I'm going to be using crushed walnut shell to fill it with, and I just think that the batting offers a little bit of a soft buffer for that. So I put my centre square sitting already on my batting, and then I've got my 4 strips. The 4 strips are all equal length to go around. So what I want to do now is I want to sew the first strip on, so it's lining up with one edge of the square, or 2 edges I guess, but it's a bit longer here because we need another strip here. So in order to be able to achieve that, we just need to do a partial seam on this first seam. So we just want to come down maybe 2/3 of the way, and then we can press that open, and then we can start adding the other seams around. So I'll go ahead and do that so that you can see what I mean. So just a regular 1/4 inch seam allowance works fine. So just come down, not the whole way, about there, and then we can just press that seam back. So it's kind of like quilt as you go. We're working on the batting, it is quilted as we go. Now I'm going to leave that one where I might sew some buttons on later, so I'm not putting anything else on that one, and that's partly because it isn't stitched down either. So, and now I'm going to go around and put my next strip on. So I'm going to start right out here and come all the way along here and stitch that in place. And I'm going to press that one, and then I'm going to attach one of the braids or tapes or whatever it is that we've got to go on there. Now just remember, we will be losing 1/4 inch seam allowance off that edge, so come closer to the edge that we've just sewn, and I'm just going to stitch that on, and it'll be ready for that side. Now don't forget to stitch both edges, otherwise it will just flap, which may not be what you're hoping for. And then we're just going to add the next one, and so it goes on. So I'll continue on now, so I've just got to bring that one from that edge all the way down there, and I can flip it over, and I'm probably going to add the happy birthday to that one, and then I'll do this last one and I'll add my little scissors, and then I'll show you how we finish off around there. So I'll go ahead and do a little bit of this in the meantime and show you shortly. So I've gone ahead and I've done my 3 sides. I've got my tape so that it's covered at each end there, and I've sewn on that last side here, and so now we need to just go back and finish this one off. So we just want to bring that, so it's going to be attached up here, but we can just bring it so that it's level and finish that 1/4 inch seam off down there, and then we'll have all 4 sides looking pretty good, I think. So with some certain blocks that do this sort of around the block type piecing, you just need to be able to do that partial seam to get started. So I think that's looking kind of fun. You may not want to use any braid or ribbons and things. However, I know that I'm not alone in having to have some of those little things when I see them sometimes, and then you're not sure what to do with them. But I think this would be a great little birthday gift for somebody. So we've got to this point now. We just need to trim that back to the trim off the batting back to the piece block size, and we need to get the back ready. It is a fairly straightforward square pincushion this time, so the back is simply a square, but again it's quilted. I have already gone ahead and done the quilting on it. I've just done a grid. You can probably see it on the back here. So that also now needs trimming so that the front and the back will be the same size. Now I am going to put some little buttons on my pincushion. However, I'm not going to put them on until everything else is done, simply because they get in the way of the sewing. So that would not be so much fun. So we should have a front and a back the same now. And so all we need to do is stitch all the way around, but we do want to leave ourselves a gap for turning, so maybe a couple of inches or so in that side. Maybe the side where the buttons go, so that then it's fairly easy. We could sew the buttons on maybe before we fill it. That might be quite good, because then it's all quite accessible. So I'll go ahead and I'll join up, and then we'll need to clip the corners and things as well. So I'll get it all joined together first. So I've stitched all the way around. I'm just going to clip those corners off now so that they're not so bulky when we turn it out the right way. Just mind you don't cut your stitching. And then we can turn it out, and we should be able to stitch those buttons on before we fill it, which would make life quite a lot easier, I think. Now something to help push those corners out would be a good idea. Such a great idea to have a variety of pincushions to use yourself for different purposes, different places. You may sew in more than one place wherever it is that you sew. I certainly do. I have work spaces, I have home spaces, I have pretty much every space. So that's all turned out nicely. I do just like to run something along those seam lines. That just helps them sit out better, and most likely I will press that just so that it doesn't start sort of pulling in and things, and it just all helps it sit better. So by putting the tape or ribbon or braid or whatever it is on, we are losing, like we virtually can't see the fabric that one's on at all. However, there's a little hint of colour there. So that's also something to consider, that you won't see necessarily all that fabric if you cover it up with braid like I have. So I think that's all looking pretty good, and we are more or less ready to fill it, but I think I'm going to sew my buttons on now while I can still get in there, because I've got access. So I've got a needle and thread here, this one I think, so that I can do that. So I'm going to sew the first one on as I'm putting 3 buttons on. I'm going to do the middle one first, because that way I can more or less get it central to the strip. So really this is just sewing buttons on by hand. I'm sure you probably don't need to watch me sew a button on. So I've gone ahead and I've sewn my 3 little buttons on. I'm quite happy with all of that. So I'm just going to fill it with some of the crushed walnut shell. So I've just got all that here with my funnel and my cup. Must be getting used to seeing me doing this by now. So it's going to take a reasonable amount. It's a good sized pincushion, but I think it's an excellent pincushion. I would be very happy if somebody gave me a happy birthday pincushion, and it's not even my birthday. So I'll go ahead and finish filling it. I'm going to fill it fairly full this time so that it sits nice and firm there, and then I'm just going to hand sew it closed. So I'll come back and show it to you when I get to the other end. So I've just finished sewing the little gap closed. I'm just tying off my thread. And then I'll just poke that in there somewhere and bring it out somewhere else. And snip the threads off so that they're inside. So there we have a simple square pincushion with some delicious happy birthdays and scissors and tape measure bits and buttons, and I think that's a great little pincushion. I would store pincushion pins in that quite happily. I'd receive it as a happy birthday gift. I'd give it as a happy birthday gift. So that was pincushion number 13. Thank you for watching. I will see you again with pincushion number 14.